Okay, so basically we're going to deal with the area of the circle again. But in this case, we are going to apply several situation, no? Several mga problems natin. So for example, area of a circle. Main base natin, area of a circle, main formula natin is pi multiplied to r squared. Or for, in your case, para mas madali inyong maintindihan, it's basically equivalent to pi multiplied to r times r. Okay, kasi in higher mathematics nga, if we multiply the same variable, in the exponents tend to add up, no? So r times r is basically r squared. Okay, so that's how you solve for the area of a circle. Pag area of a circle, solving it, all you need to do is just to take pi multiplied to r times r. Now, what if you are going to encounter figures that are semicircle, quarter circle, and the 3/4 circle? Or in my case, I want to call this as the Pac-Man circle. You know Pac-Man, right? The game. So actually, madali lang to. You just need to put in mind. When you mean semicircle, it's basically half the circle. So for example, yan ang circle. If you're going to take half of it, let's try to make it equal. Wala, hindi nagiging equal. Okay. Reasonable. Pixel erase lang tayo. Just for you to see. So if na-notice nyo, it's now half. Diba? So erase ko na muna to yung sa baba, yung 3/4 circle. Let me write it here. 3/4 circle, or as I would like to call it, the Pac-Man circle. Okay, kung ma-notice nyo, anong ginawa natin sa semicircle? Sa circle kanina. From circle, it now became semicircle by simply cutting it in half. When you do something in half, it means that you basically divide it by 2. Correct? So if the area of a circle is pi times r, or the original formula of the area of a circle is pi times r squared, in a semicircle, all you need to do is just to divide also the formula into half. So for example, you have the area. Ngayon semicircle na yan. Since it's a semicircle, taking the original formula of area of a circle is pi times r, or in this case, para sa inyo nga, is r times r, so that you will just not get confused. Kasi, in my experience teaching kids this formula, most of you tend to do the r squared as 2 times r instead. So, mali yun. Marami sa inyo, yung r squared, instead na gagawin yung r times r, what you do is you multiply it by 2 instead. So, that is basically wrong. Hindi pwede. So, ngayon, I'm going to avoid that mistake by, as much as I want you to get used to it, pero wala nandito tayo sa, we are online, so I don't want to risk your grade for that. So, all you have to do for a semicircle is just divide the equation by 2. Okay? So, if you're asked to solve for the area of a semicircle, all you need to do is just to take the formula of the semicircle, of the area of a circle rather, which is ito, and just divide it by 2. Okay? Yan lang gagawin nyo. As simple as that. Now, Teacher Mark, what is a quarter circle? Quarter circle, quarter. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng quarter? Quarter refers to 1/4. Okay? Ano ang ibig sabihin ng quarter circle? So, ibig sabihin, if you are going to divide the circle by 4, you now have 4 quarters. Correct? And since quarter circle lang siya, meaning only one. We will only take one quarter. And we are going to erase the rest. Okay, para mas maintindihan ninyo. Now, if you notice, sa circle, we divided it to how many parts? Okay, we divide it by 4 parts, di ba? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We divided it by 4 parts. So, in other words, ganun lang din. If you encounter a quarter circle, all you have to do is to take the area, the original area of the area of a circle, which is pi times r in your case, and just divide the answer by 4. Ganun lang. Kasi ni-divide natin ang semicircle, we divided it by 2. Ang quarter circle naman, we divide it by 4. So, solving for the area of a semicircle, we just divide it by 2. And solving for the area of a quarter circle, you just divide it by 4. Ngayon naman, pagdating sa Pacman, 3/4 circle, which means out of 4 parts, we take 3. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Kasi kanina, out of 4 parts dito sa quarter circle, we only took 1. Dito naman sa 3/4 circle, dividing it by 4, like what we did earlier, we take 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. Okay, any part yan. Kahit saan nyo gusto, okay lang. Remove natin para mas makita ninyo yung image. Okay. Now, para siyang Pac-Man. That's why, the reason why I call it Pac-Man, kasi si Pac-Man, di ba, parang ganyan yung itsura niya. That's why I call it Pac-Man. Parang Pac-Man. Okay. Not necessarily the same, pero in my case, just for you, just for fun. Okay. So, since we now have 3 parts, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that naman. We have 1 here. Erase ko muna yung iba para... You have 1, 2, 3. Then again, taking the area of a Pac-Man is basically just taking the formula muna, which is pi times r in your case. And all you have to do here is to multiply this equation by 3 muna and divide the answer by 4. Okay, explain ko lang, Teacher Mark, why? Kasi kung tutuusin, the real formula should be pi times r squared multiplied to 3/4. Okay, so in this case, I'm just gonna show you paano naging ganun yung equation. Okay. Again ha, ito yung focus natin. And elaborate ko lang further kung bakit. Okay. Bakit naging ganyan? Okay, I'm gonna show you. Taking this, breaking this apart para mas maintindihan nyo that you know that it's already pi times r in your case. Para mas madali. Then multiplied by 3/4. Now, you can actually group this as 1. Ito sila. Which means this group basically has a denominator of 1. And since we're dealing with fractions, when we multiply just like a whole number, for example, 3 times 1/4, ang ginagawa natin, binibigyan natin ng denominator of 1 ang mga whole numbers. And so that we can proceed with the usual multiplication process. Diba? So, ganito lang din yun dito. Taking the entire equation, original equation of the area of a circle. Ganun lang din. And multiply it by 3/4. Which means we take pi times r multiplied by 3 and 1 multiplied to 4. So that becomes pi times r times 3 over 4 times 1 is 4. So this is where we got our equation earlier. Okay, klaro? I hope that's clear. So, ibig sabihin, again, if you are to solve a semicircle, area to ha, we are referring to area. Solving for the area of a semicircle, you just take the original formula of area of a circle, which is pi times r divided by 2. Pag quarter circle naman, okay, let me just replace that kasi iba yung drawing ko. Okay. Pag quarter circle naman, so that's pi times r divided by 4. Ganun lang kadali. And for a 3/4 circle, that's pi times r times 3 divided by 4. Okay? So, ganun ang pag-solve natin sa area of a circle. Now, paano naman kung circumference ang pinag-usapan natin? Okay? Paano pag circumference? Okay. Now, circumference naman ang pag-uusapan natin. Defining circumference, this is the measurement around the circle. Okay. Now, when it comes to shapes such as semicircle, yung quadrant circle or quarter circle, yung 3/4 circle, pumapasok na ngayon, pagdating sa circumference, pumapasok ang perimeter. And perimeter is, by definition, is the measurement around the figure. Yan ang difference nila. Sa perimeter, it's around the figure. Anong ibig sabihin niyan, Teacher Mark? What do you mean by that? Ano ang difference ngayon ng circumference? Anong sa perimeter? Okay. So, for example, meron tayong circle. If you're going to measure it around, starting from one point of the circle all the way around, our circumference here is just the same as our perimeter. Because the measurement around the circle here is also the measurement around the figure. Pero, pagdating natin ngayon sa semicircle, ang nangyayari dito is that, klaklaruin natin, okay? Okay. Erase na naman natin. Again, you can take any side of the circle. Depende na yun sa inyo. Okay. So, dito na ngayon magkakaroon ng ibang measurement. If you're only asked to take the circumference, i-color code ko. Circumference in green. Ano ba yan? Taking the circumference, since it's a semicircle, just like earlier sa taas, pag semicircle, dinidivide natin by 2. Okay. So, pag circumference lang, all you need to do is to take the formula of the original circle. Ano bang area ng original circle natin? Circumference of a circle is equivalent to 2 times pi times r. Ngayon, if it's a semicircle, pag semicircle, circumference of a semicircle is equivalent to 2 times pi times r divided by 2. Like what I've said, same lang siya sa area. Dinidivide lang natin by 2. But, if you were asked to get, ngayon naman, anong color ba? Okay, let's say blue. Pag perimeter na ang pinapasolve sa inyo, okay, balik tayo sa green. Circumference, explaining further, bakit ganyan lang, Teacher Mark? Because the circumference of a circle is only from this point up to this point. Okay, that's the only circumference of the circle. Pero pag sinabi mong perimeter in blue, okay, in blue, ibig sabihin, we start the measurement at this point yung sa circle nga, yung which is including the circumference. Perimeter now measures around the circle. It doesn't stop here, including, in this case, is our diameter. In-include natin ang diameter. Okay? So, ganyan ang ginagawa natin dito. Which means for the perimeter, all you have to do first, perimeter of a semicircle is 2 times pi times r divided by 2. And then after getting the answer, you just plus our diameter. You basically add the measurement of the diameter. Okay? In general, ganun lang. The same goes for a quarter circle. Like in this case, sa quarter circle naman, anong ginagawa natin sa formula? We basically divide it by 4. Kindly take down the formula ha. Sulatin nyo yan sa isang paper. Taking the formula para mas madali nyong isolve. Ine-explain ko lang dito sa inyo bakit nagiging ganun yung equation natin. So, for a quarter circle, yan. Quarter circle. Again, draw lang tayo ng circle. Then, taking a quarter of it. Erase na naman tayo. Okay, then again, i-explain ko naman dito, circumference in green. Taking the circumference, again, circumference of a quadrant or circumference of a quarter circle, ang ginagawa natin dito usually is just to take again, original, kasi parating original formula ang hinanap natin ng circumference, which is 2 times pi times r. And if you notice na hinati natin yung yung circle into 4. So giving us equivalent to divided by 4. Okay, so yan ang formula natin. Teacher Mark, bakit? Bakit yan lang ang circumference? Because when we measure like what it says earlier, circumference is the measurement around the circle. So ito lang. Ito lang yung part ng circle, yung arc. From this point to this point. Yan lang. But if you're going to talk about the perimeter again, in blue, so solving for the perimeter of a quadrant or a quarter circle, basically parang the same lang, no? Same lang. 2 times pi times r divided by 4. But in this case, like what I did earlier dito sa semicircle, starting off with our circumference all the way papunta dito, including these 2 radii natin. Okay, Teacher Mark, what word did you just say? Radius is singular. Radii is plural. Dalawa. And then again, just to make it clear, ilang radius tayo meron dito? How many radii do we have here? We have 1, 2. And if you put 2 radii together, it will give us the diameter. Diba? Tingnan nyo. 1 radius, another radius, 2 radii put together is our diameter. Which means in this case, in our formula, we can now say after doing this, pi times r 2 times pi times r divided by 4, all you have to do is just to add the diameter. I'll keep it simple para hindi kayo malito. That's just the same as solving for the perimeter of the semicircle. Okay? Circumference alone, eraser pala yun. Circumference alone of a quadrant is 2 times pi times r divided by 4. But the perimeter of a quadrant or a quarter circle, taking basically the circumference, which is 2 times pi times r divided by 4, then you add the diameter. Same lang din dito. Circumference, yan ang circumference natin. Pero ang perimeter natin is different. Okay? Ganun lang. Basically, the same. We just add up the diameter. Okay. So, for the semicircle, Teacher Mark, how about sa 3/4 circle? Exactly the same thing. Explain ko bakit. For a 3/4 circle, or the Pacman, erase natin. Okay. Okay. Erase ko din to sa loob para mas makita nyo yung figure. Okay. Ganyan. If you notice again, dalawang radius. Ibig sabihin, you already know our ending for our perimeter. We add a diameter. Okay? So, solving originally for the area of circumference of a circle is two times pi times r. Pero since this is a 3/4 nga, so just the same as what we did with the area of the 3/4 circle, we multiply it by 3 and divide it by 4. So ganun lang din ang gagawin natin dito. We multiply it by 3, then divide it by 4. That's how you solve for the circumference of this. Okay? Ganun lang. Pero pagdating sa perimeter, you have guessed it right. Exactly the same thing. Perimeter of this 3/4 circle is equivalent to 2 times pi times r times 3 divided by 4. Do that first and just add the diameter. Why? In-explain ko na dito kanina sa area of a circle. Okay? So, if you notice, meron na tayong several equations. Pero if you're going to think of it logically, the same lang. The same logic applies. It's obviously there. And I hope that you get this concept. Teka lang kasi i-square natin yan. Rectangle pala. I-box natin, in other words. There. Try natin i-number yung number formulas that we ended with. We started with the area of a circle, already having the original formula. Then for the additional formula natin, we have 1, 2, 3. Then we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now, all I have to ask you to do is just to write all this formula in a small piece of paper. Or kung pwede, write nyo in an index card. Teacher Mark, what is an index card? Just ask your parents about it. Alam na nila yan. Okay? Index card. Sulatin nyo dyan. And this will help you throughout yung exams natin. Okay? So anyway, yun lang. That's basically it for this week.